Hello everybody, welcome to the United from Manchester United to Grimsby to Grimsby went on penalties. And look, I know I'm recording a day later, but I just needed time. Obviously I did my watch along. It was absolutely embarrassing. Um, I just needed time, but not only that, I've been looking at through YouTube, the mainstream, the media, fan channels, and most of them up hammering out. And look, the thing is, I don't hate people at hammering out. I hate people. I don't even hate Amranauters. I hate the Amranauters who the people that lack common sense. The people who have common sense and want Amranaut, I don't hate them. I don't hate them. Because it's justifiable to say Amrin should be out. But the question for me is, do I want Amrin out? Look, I don't want Amrin out. I don't want him out. And I'll explain why. Obviously, losing to Grimsby gets as worse as it gets. But I saw, because I can tell by 3 games we played. We played against Arsenal, first game. We played against Fulham. And now we played against Grimsby. I can go back to last season, but you know what? Because it's recency, I can talk about it right now. Man United went toe-to-toe with Arsenal in the first game, right? Not only toe-to-toe, they actually dominated the game. I feel like we should have won that, but obviously it is what it is. And people are saying, oh wow, Amorim's changing. We might see a new Manchester United. You go to Fulham, play a good 30 minutes there, and then you allow Fulham, you invite Fulham to play like their bloody prime Barcelona. And look, I've said this before, right? Don't get gassed over the big team results because we've done that last season. We just couldn't do it against every other team, you know? And we did it again. And it's just funny because 30 minutes, Fulham were invited to the game and we made them play like prime Barcelona. And the fact is that Man United can make any average or pub league side into a world-class team. That's Man United for you. And then obviously we dropped points from there, which we should have won. But that's down to us. And then obviously go to Grimsby and it's an absolute shit show. So this just obviously shows this is on the players. It can't be on Amorim. I know you can say Amorim picked picked the 11, and I'll talk about Amorim's where Amorim was in wrong in this game. But you can't tell me you play well against Arsenal, you dominate them, you make the fans believe that you know what, there is hope. Then you go to Fulham, you show a cameo of that, but then you were shit anyway, overall. Then you go to Grimsby and absolutely cause an absolute shit show. This just shows it's not Amorim. It's the players. You know? This team this team goes by many names. And you might as well call them Turning Up FC because this team only wants to turn up whenever they want to. And I'm sick of it. Because how can you make us believe that we played well against Arsenal despite the loss? Show a cameo against Fulham, but overall it was shit. And then against Grimsby, an absolute embarrassing. And talking about Grimsby, I'll get to that in a moment. But for those that hammering out, I don't even blame you. For those that hammering out before, the knobheads, the people that lack common sense, they were waiting for a reason for wanting hammering out, and they've got them. They've got their video, they got their clicks. You know, I've seen great acting. It should be shown in the Oscars. It's crazy. But for those that hammering out now because of the game, I understand because we shouldn't. Man United as a team should not lose to Grimsby. Look, I know we're gonna say we're Man United. Of course, we are Man United. But the way we play, the way these players play. I mean, I saw the attitude, and it was like these players didn't even want to be here. We did play we did play most of our players that are strong, and we still struggled. Like it got to the point where we needed to bring Mbomo, Delict, Bruno, and it's like it was 2-2. And you know what it is? Talking about 2-2, I'll talk about the match later. But for those that are hammering out, I don't blame you. But if we want hammering out, what does that mean? And I want people's opinions on this, right? If we do sack Amorim, if the board do sack him, what does that mean? We go again into the new season. It's a write-off already, 3 games in, and it's already a write-off. And it's like, who do we sign? That's the most important thing. Who do we sign? And the thing is as well, not only do we sign a manager, we don't sign any manager. We sign a manager who's good enough for Man United, who's got the CV of it, and is better than Amorim. I don't want anyone who is just a little bit equal towards Amorim or maybe worse. Because there's just no point. What's the point of replacing him? Now, the only reason I don't want Amorim going, not only because I feel like I believe he could be the right guy. No, I don't think that. You know, it's not the only reason. I want him to stay because I'm sick and tired. I'm sick and tired of sacking managers left, right, and centre. And the thing is, if we sack Amorim, I'm worried about what will go next because this is almost like deja vu. When we sacked Ten Hag in October, it was against West Ham, and we signed Amorim in November. I thought to myself, you know what? It's good that we have a manager, but at the same time it was bad because I knew he should have started in the summer because it won't look good because he's playing with a new formation and Man United have never played that way. And it was almost like he needed time, so it was better for him to come in the summer. But look, he got appointed. And obviously it was against Ipswich, which was his first game. And it was like, wow, he needs more than bloody one month. He needs bloody a few seasons. Obviously, we made the signings. He's got Sesko, Cunha, and Burmo. If we sack him after making those signings, the next manager is going to come in. Not only is he going to have players that played on Oli, not only is he going to have players that played under Ten Hag, he's going to also have players that played under Amorim, which is obviously a basket case. So that's not what you really want. And you never know. Do you mean the new manager wouldn't want Cunha? He wouldn't want Mbeumo. He wouldn't want Sesko. So this is why I want to stick with Amorim. Not because I believe he could turn this around. No, it's not because of that. I'm just sick and tired. I don't want it to be, again, this is a write-off, already 3 games in. And it's like, you know, we need to change the manager. Because, look, because if that was the case, Ineos should have saw this coming. We lost to Tottenham, and it was almost like it was the end of the world for us. And if that was the case, Ineos should have sacked him then. Because if you're so worried about how the season will start, you should have sacked him before. The season started, there's no point sacking him. Because we're going to do this again. Deja vu, Amorim comes in mid-season, and it's an absolute shit show. This will happen for the next manager as well. And people say, oh boy, if he has a manager bounce. I told people when Amorim didn't have a manager bounce, I said I was pleased he didn't have a manager bounce. Because if we had a manager bounce, the problems we saw, now we're seeing now, they would have come before. They would have come after. If Amorim had a manager bounce when he came in, he could have kept Rashford. All this whole saga with Rashford, or all the players he wants gone, they were going to come next season. Absolutely, they were going to come next season. We saw there was Ten Hag. We played well. And the next season, it was a whole shit show. Rashford played bad. So many players played bad. He had a falling with Sancho, you know. So, I was pleased that we didn't have a manager bounce. Because the problems were going to come on later anyway. So, I was glad he didn't have a manager bounce. And those problems came. Amorim solved them. And now we don't need to deal with it. But obviously there's still problems because you got the midfield situation. You got the goalkeeper. And I'll get onto the game in just a moment. But it's crazy because I talk about this team being inconsistent. Turning up whenever they want to. But I'll just say this right now. Against Arsenal, it was the goalkeeper's mistake. But the midfield played well. Against Fulham, the midfield was a problem, but the keeper had a good game. I don't know who was worse, the midfield or the goalkeeper. Well, surely the goalkeeper. I don't know how the midfield was good because they were just all shit in general. The goalkeeper was bad. What makes you think Burnley, it won't be a midfield again? It'll be almost like a pattern. Goalkeeper mistake, midfield mistake. Goalkeeper mistake, midfield mistake. It's like a pattern going all and all again. It's like a cycle. So, and what's ironic, these are the two positions we need to improve on. And with obviously 3.5 days left, you'll see, look, I don't think we're going to get, we're more likely to get a keeper because apparently, I don't know how concrete Lemens is. Apparently, he still wants to join United. We just need the here we go. That's about it. We're not going to get a midfielder. So, look, I mean, look, I'll just talk about the game because look, all I'm saying is it's one mistake, either whether it's the keeper or it's a midfielder. It's going to keep on a pan every match we're going to play because look, we're out of the League Cup and we're going to keep playing every week. And look, it's boring because at the same time, I'm glad, but at the same time, I'm pissed. I'm pissed because I want to see Man United play more. I want to see football. I want to see more Man United. Despite how Man United can make me love this club and hate at the same time, I still want to watch Man United. I'm relieved because the shit Man United have pulled off against Grimsby, it makes me feel like, you know what, I don't need to see that shit. And what makes it worse is that I said Man United will win the League Cup. Well, that prediction's gone to a bin. Worst take ever, so whatever you want to call it. But yeah, so people are hammering out the ones that have common sense. I will not hold that against you. That's your own opinion. I don't hate you. I don't even be mad at you. You know, all I'm saying is stupid because the next manager's going to come in and you're expecting a manager bounce. I don't expect it to be good. I expect it to give him time and whatever. But it won't. Man United isn't a job where it's overdue. Or it's not overnight job. You know, it takes a few years to get Man United into where it should be. And which is competing for titles and getting to Champions League places. But look, we're a long way from that. And look, ironically, Amorim did say we're not ready to play in Europe. And we just got beaten by Grimsby. So that almost feels like, you know what, it's another reason why we're not in Europe. You know, it's one of those Amorim quotes that you don't want to hear. But it's almost like you might as well call Amorim psychic because he just predicts the future for some reason. So, you know, but apart from that, look, I'll talk about the game because that should be the main focus. But I just wanted to clear up on people who hate Ten Hag. Look, I don't hate people who hate Ten Hag. Sorry, not Ten Hag. I don't hate people that hate Amorim. The ones that have common sense. I hate those people who've been saying Amorim out, who absolutely talk shit out of their ass. So, you know, for those that, you know, say Amorim should go, you know, it's time for him to go, whatever. I don't blame you. But for those that have been talking shit out of their asses, I just hate those lots. So, yeah. Talking about the Grimsby game, so look, obviously it was piss poor. I feel like they should have won 3-0. I was a bit weird. The third goal was offside, but I kept thinking to myself, it came off Maguire. And apparently one of the players played them offside, but I'm thinking he had no interference in that. So I don't know how that was offside. But you know what hates me about Man United? We bloody scored in the 75th minute. And it's almost like, why is this team giving me joy? Why does this team give me hope? And leaving it so late. And then Maguire scores and it's like, obviously I did celebrate over the top. But it's like 2-0 down and it's 2-2 and it's like normal Man United, saviour of the day. And then we go into pens and you're thinking, you know what? He should bring on Bayern there. Because Onana was shit. He was so shit overall in open play. So, you know. But yeah. But apparently, he couldn't play Bayern there because we used up all the subs. But look, I'm going to say this here right now. I blame Amorim only because he started Onana. I said in my match preview, if you're willing to sell Onana, you don't start him in games. Don't even put him on the bench. Make him suffer that it gets to the point, you know what, I've got no future. But the fact that you played him, you know, giving him the second choice, you know, the backup keeper, like going from first to second, I mean, you're just giving him belief that, you know what, he can still fight with Bayern there. But obviously the performance he gave in was shit. It's almost like, you know what, there's a reason why we want you out. And it's like, you know what, as soon as I knew we couldn't put Bayern there, or we just couldn't, I knew we were done because Onana shit at penalties. You know, he was shit in he was shit in the game in the full 90. What makes you think he was gonna do great? And honestly, you know what? For me, being as a former keeper myself, I couldn't believe myself. I couldn't believe my eyes. You know, watching that game of Onana made me feel like I could get back into football. I've got an injury on my arm, which is like I can't play football. And obviously, as a keeper, you need to dive. So obviously, that's why. But seeing him play, I mean, the first goal. Let's talk about the first goal. That first goal that's gone in. Obviously, near post is just as bad. But when I saw the actual angle, it was straight at, and I'm thinking to myself, fucking hell. Because that strike, that finish was as straighter than an arrow in Wii Sport. I mean, it's honestly, I mean, it's just embarrassing. And look, even the second goal. I mean, you know what? Talking about the second goal, we keep talking about buying their shit in himself in the whenever it comes to set pieces. But Onana as well, he comes up for crosses. But you know what it is? When you're a keeper, you either go forward for the cross or you stay back. You don't leave it to the last minute. Onana left it to the last minute. And guess what? The thing with Onana is people think that he comes out. Yeah? He doesn't even come out for the ball. He comes and attacks the players. He did that shit against Wolves, yeah, which should have been a penalty, but we got away with it. He did it against Grimsby, and it's like, it still went in the back of the... I'm thinking to myself, aim for the ball, punch the ball out. Why are you punching the player? I mean, honestly, he's just so bad. And then you look at the penalties, and I'm like, that's 4 times he touched the ball in the penalty shootout. And it's like, how he got a touch on it. I'm thinking to myself, what's the point of touching it? There's no point touching it if you're not going to save it. And every time he touched it, it was almost like he was giving... It's almost like he wanted it to go in. So, I mean, honestly, Onana, you know what? I'm going to do ratings in a moment, but I swear to God, that this should be his last game for United. This game alone just shows this should be his last game for United, and he can't compete, let alone in the Premier League. He can't compete in bloody any English league, not even in the National League, because he can't even save goals from a team like Grimsby. And fair enough, credit to Grimsby, you know, shock upset, you know, and absolutely blew us away. But Onana, what? And I know it's easy to say, oh, what if Bayern they played? What if Tommy Heaton played? Then those mistakes would have happened. Yeah, but Onana, I mean, Amorim picked the team. That's where I blame him for it, because if you wanted Onana out, make him suffer so badly that you play bloody Tom Heaton in front of him. You know, but you're giving him opportunity to be a backup keeper. I'm like, you're giving him the chance to think he still has a role in Man United. And that's where I went, you know what, that's where Amorim went wrong. So, you know, look, I'm just looking at the stats here. 28 shots, 9 on target. And look, this is why I said 2-0 initially, the predictions right there. I said, you know what, this game could be 3 or 4-0. But knowing Man United, we're allergic to scoring goals. We can't finish to save our lives. So, and looking at those stats, and you're thinking, how did we not win this game? And it's like, I'm just surprised. 28 shots, that's basically what? That's 37 shots altogether. And we still couldn't win the game. It just shows we're so bad when it comes to keepers. And we're so bad when it comes to, you know, being clinical. These are 2 main problems. And we're thinking Cunha and Burma. And obviously, congrats on Burma scoring his first goal. But Cunha and Burma and Sesko, even when we get those players, it's almost like we're still not clinical. I'm thinking we need to be clinical. Because if we don't take our chances, the team's going to punish us. And we've done this so many times. This season, last season, and it's like, there's a reason why we're shit. There was a reason why we finished 15, because of the attack. We couldn't finish our chances, and that's why we were as low as we were, because we don't take our chances. We're not a team that punishes teams. We're a team that gets punished. So, you know, that just tells the story of Man United. I mean, and look, and you know what, Man United, they love leaving it so late, and it's just ironic, because why'd you leave it so late? And it's like you're trying to give Man United fans hope. And the thing is as well, we played so against Arsenal, but we can't play well against Grimsby. I'm thinking to myself, this team, you can't blame Amorim for this, because this team wants to turn up whenever it wants to. It just pisses me off. But look, I said 2-0. It obviously makes me look like a knob. Look, I said bloody we will win the League Cup. That even makes me a bigger knob. So, but it is what it is. But yeah, look, player ratings. You know what, Onana, you don't even deserve a rating. That's how bad you were. If I could, -1. You're a negative. So, who else was played? Fredrickson, I'd say 5.5. Obviously, but look, obviously you could say he was blamed for the goal, but obviously Dallo was nowhere. You know what? Apparently Dallo was blamed for the goal. The fact that I didn't even know Dallo was playing just shows how bad he was. Because he's so bad when he's going attack, but then he's nowhere to be defending. So, but look, I'm not blaming Fredrickson. I'm not blaming Heaven. They've got no part in this. They're young players. They don't need scrutiny. They don't need criticism. So, I'm not giving them. Look, 5.5 if I had to give one. Same with Heaven. Maguire, I'd probably say 6. Obviously he got the goal, but look, the rating's gonna be low because of how shit we played. So, look, 6. Ugarte a 4.5. I don't know what's happened. Look, I made my point saying when we played against Arsenal, it was too hectic. We were trying to win the game, and that's why it was bad. Whereas when we played against Fulham and he came on, we were winning the game. We weren't rushing to get the goal. So that's why he was calm against Fulham. But when he started against Grimsby, I'm thinking, for fuck's sake, that performance from Ugarte, he's giving his haters a reason why he should go. So, but a 4.5 for me. Dorga, I'm going to say 5.5. Look, it wasn't his best game. I feel like he should have had rest. I feel like Leon should have at least had a start. But look, we have the League Cup, so I don't know how much he's going to start now. We're not going to play till, obviously, FA Cup, which is in January, so that's still a long way. Dallo, I'm going to give a 5. Look, absolutely shit. Useless up front, useless in the attack, useless in defense. So, and he cost us that goal against Fulham. May I tell you? Menu, I'll probably say 6. I'll probably say 6. Probably a 6. And probably man of the match for me. Look, I think Menu showed Amorim why he should play. And for God's sake, he needs to play over Bruno. I love Bruno. And I wasn't those people saying he should be out. But for God's sake, if you want to play Bruno, if you want him in the team, play him in the fucking 10. Not in the 8. Because don't play him in a position where he's just doing a job. It's like trying to put Haaland at centre-half because he's tall and he's got that physical strength. So, it's just stupid. Ahmad, I'm going to say 5. I feel like that probably might have been his worst game so far in the United shirt. I mean, there have been times where he was taking on players. And look, I love Ahmad. But there's going to be a point where people are going to put him in the category of Garnacho, Rashford, Anthony. Of just being greedy wingers. Just shooting every time when he should be passing. So, Cunha, I'm going to say... Look, 5.5. Look, obviously, it wasn't his game. It wasn't a great game for him. Obviously, I know he missed the penalty, but, it's just unfortunate. Because I didn't want him to miss, but that's football. So yeah, 5.5. But look, he was one of those players that was trying to win the game for us, striving forward and trying to take the shot. But obviously, it was great defending from Grimsby at the time in the first half. Sesko, look, the only positive I can take from this game is Sesko starting. And probably, look, I didn't expect for a whole 90 minutes. I don't know why he took the penalty last. Look, Sesko obviously was a positive because I don't know why he took 10th penalty. Apparently people were saying he was a coward and he was hiding. Already the criticism has already started. So honestly, but that's talk shit for you. The bench, look, Dele, I'll probably say a 6 because look, he came on trying to do something. Man, I'll probably say a 6, a 5.5 for Mount. Look. Actually, you know what, 6? I think that's a bit harsh. I still think he would... Look, He was playing that win back. He was trying to do a job. Bruno, I'll probably say 6 again. Xerxes 6, and Bromo probably a 6 as well. So but look, all I'm saying is I don't know what Burnley holds out for us, but I'll tell you this. I don't know what we're gonna get from Burnley. And look, I don't know how the fans will be, but look, the thing about Man United fans, they should know. Man United fans will be loyal. Old Trafford will still be packed. They'll be there to support the team because that's the best thing about Man United. The best thing about Man United is mainly the fans because the loyalty's there. So Old Trafford's gonna be packed. Look, what's more crazy is that I keep thinking this loss is almost like we've lost 3 points in the Premier League when this is actually a League Cup. But look, hopefully, I don't know what Burnley will hold up for, but hopefully we get our first win. But I'm not confident because if we can't beat a team that's 4 leagues below us, then how do you see us beating Burnley? But it is what it is. But anyway, that's the match reaction. I know it's piss taking for people. I know people on Amorim out, but look, this is where it starts getting scary for Amorim. And he's going to be in a lot of pressure because I knew if he'd lose this game, he's in deep shit. But that's what happens when you are a manager at a big club like Man United. You're going to get a lot of scrutiny, especially for losing to a team like Grimsby Town. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Take care. See you in the next one.